following is a GNC podcast production. Welcome to Geek Addicts, a pop culture podcast.
Hello and welcome to Geek Addicts, a pop culture podcast where we talk about all things pop and all things culture. My name is Matt, carrying around my head. This here is Bill. He's, walking around with a tuxedo. And with us is the girl from the other side herself, Cyndi, my wife. How you doing?
My wife.
My wife.
Hi.
Man, it's been, it feels like it's been not too long since we last recorded.
Yeah, right? Well, it's been a little bit for Cyndi.
True, that was like a year ago now, I think.
Almost.
God,
yeah.
was it?
It was coming up on it. I mean, it was only like our 5th episode, I think.
Jesus.
And we're coming up on our year anniversary soon, so.
Yeah, we're almost at 50 episodes.
Yeah, we're getting there. For sure.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Me and Matt were just chatting with the crew, playing some Fable over on the Superpod network, so that was fun.
Yeah, well, I was playing Fable. You were playing, what, Dr. Mario and Tetris?
I was playing a lot of things.
Yeah. And then we had Thrak over there. He was playing on his Game Gear.
And we were finding out how video games are woke, apparently.
Oh, yeah, that was Thrak. I don't know. He found this page or whatever where a bunch of people were determining whether or not you should play a game because it's too woke.
It was saddest.
That was pretty fucking entertaining list, I'll be honest with you.
It was entertaining because of how sad it was.
For real.
Oh, man. But yeah, it's been a good less than 24 hours.
Since our last recording.
Yeah. Anything new happened since then, or?
Not in particular. I mean,
Did you tell about the accident?
Oh yeah, I mentioned it on the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this street, bad juju.
Yeah, you were here, so you could probably explain it in better detail.
It's just fucked. I looked out the window and I did not expect to see tires in the air, and I immediately just ran barefoot. I dove on the ground and I was helping the lady, and thankfully she ended up only scrapes and a bruise, having a car on top of her. That's all she had, so thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not fun. We have really bad stuff going on the street all the time.
Well, one of our running jokes is we have our friend Mr. Carr who drives by every recording.
Yep. He's
I know what car you're talking
the
about.
unofficial. Well, it's pretty much any given car that happens to pass. It's
there is this one car.
like that one.
He lives right over there. He sucks.
But that's our unofficial third co-host. Is just whatever car happens to be going by at any given time.
Yeah, and you can tell they're always driving really fast.
Yeah, and you guys are right at the end of the street by a roundabout, which is just that's safe.
Yeah. People use it like a Hot Wheels roundup thing.
Mm-hmm.
I got into I met the Duxbury sergeant of the police, and we didn't make friends that day. We were talking about the speeding, and well, he sucks.
So we're actually doing a kind of a throwback topic. We haven't done movie review when was the last movie review we did?
I want to say it was Your Name.
Your Name. Yeah, I think that was good.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a good bit ago. So we wanted to do another movie, and this one was interesting. It's one I had never heard of before. So I think it'd be better if you guys described it initially.
Well, it's a very obscure series. I mean, obviously this in particular was a movie, but it's based on a manga series that I believe had 11 or 12 volumes. And we only discovered it because we had gone to Anime Boston 6 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were just browsing around the dealer's room and stuff, and I think I had found like some Pokemon manga or something like that, and Cyndi was like, you know what? I want to go and find a manga myself that doesn't have any sort of connection to any of you nerds that I came here with. I'm going to try and find something for me.
Yeah, I did.
So that was the one she found, was the first volume of that, which I believe was fairly new at the time.
I pretty much grabbed it, like the artwork. It is what drew me into it. And they did a really good job keeping that type of art in the movie. So I was impressed with that.
For sure. But the basic idea of the story is it's like a medieval, not, I don't know if medieval is the right word, but it's like a very old school kind of time period that it's set in. And basically there's two camps, so to speak. There's the inside and the outside. And the insiders are all like the people who are, untouched by the curse. And then the outsiders are all the
cursed ones.
Yeah, the cursed ones. They got like the black fur and the weird like animal like skull things going on.
They turn into trees.
Yeah. Which actually was like the one like kind of minor spoiler thing for you, because I don't know if you had read that far.
No, I didn't read the last few. I've been meaning to though.
Mm-hmm. Part of my hope for doing this movie was that it would inspire you to read the rest of them.
Yeah, well, I gotta get time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say one gripe I had at the start was it was not the movie itself, just how Crunchyroll handled it. They split it into 3 parts, which I found really annoying.
Yeah,
we did too.
Yeah, I don't know why Crunchyroll does that.
It kills the pacing, because it's like you'll be watching and all of a sudden it's like credits, and I'm like, huh? And I look at the time, it's like it's been 25 minutes. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really annoying that it does that. And Crunchyroll, it's weird because it does it with some movies and it doesn't do it with other movies.
It did it with the Kaguya-sama movie as well, which I'm still annoyed by because it kind of hurts the pacing of that movie as well.
Oh, there's a...
Yeah.
I didn't know there's a movie.
It takes place after season 3.
Oh, okay. I love Osama Loves War.
That's what Cyndi calls it.
That's what I thought it was.
It takes a little bit to catch on with some of the names.
I'm never going to unhear that now.
You just picture Kagi with a big old beard, turban.
That's actually how I refer to it too.
I'd rather not. But yeah.
So what were your first impressions of the movie?
It was very pretty.
As somebody with no background.
It was very pretty. I thought the voice cast did a very good job. Like, who played the main character? Because I thought he, the professor was his name, or teacher. I looked it up earlier, but it's an actor that hasn't done like a ton of stuff. He's done a few things.
Gary Furlong.
Yeah, I really liked his performance. I thought he handled that incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I found the aesthetic, like the animation was beautiful. The acting was really good, and I liked the designs. I'll admit, without any prior knowledge, it was a little hard to understand what was going on at first. But
yeah, they didn't do a very good job in the movie of like prepping you for like the situation, like what exactly was going on.
I feel like it's one of those movies, like just like from a casual observation, that's really meant for people who are really big fans of the work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did notice while the credits were rolling that there were credits in the credits for Kickstarter supporters, So my guess is that this wasn't backed by like a big company. It was literally like a Kickstarter movie where a bunch of people just put in a bunch of money because they wanted it to happen, but studios weren't picking it up on their own. Which is, I'm guessing, is why it's so short. I mean, it still looks fantastic. It feels like a moving watercolor the whole time.
No, it really did. Like, I liked how like it constantly, animating this must have been like a lot of work because it's constantly animating. Like, there's no like still frames or like kind of like workarounds.
Yeah, because even when everything's still, like everything is still kind of moving. It's hard to describe without seeing it.
Well, that's how it looks in the book too, and that's what I meant by the art was close. The only thing is at the beginning, I was about to get mad because there was color. In the book, it's just black and white. But excuse you. So the way they did like the dark and light colors, though, if you look really quick, it always looks black and white. Or almost looks black and white. So I like how they did the contrast there.
It's also, there's not a lot of it's not a big character heavy story, so you don't really have to like get acquainted with a ton of characters right off the bat, which is nice.
Yeah. It's pretty much just the two main characters, and then like you have the one guy who's carrying around his own head, which isn't explained at all in the movie. That is explained in the manga.
The narrator from Kaguya-sama.
Yeah. Bring that back around. Good old Osama.
Yeah. Good old Whis.
Yeah.
But
so I can imagine this being a little confusing for you.
I not gonna lie.
Knowledge.
I had no idea what was going on for most of it. I have to ask, how much of the manga does this adapt exactly?
It kind of takes like little bits and pieces from the whole thing, but it kind of twists it. It's not like a one-to-one kind of adaptation. Like even considering the fact that it's a considerably shorter movie compared to what you usually get for anime movies. But even so, like you would expect they would cut stuff, but stuff was also kind of rearranged a little bit, and a lot of like the big reveals from the manga just aren't in the movie at all. It's kind of, the movie kind of treats it like it's just kind of showing their relationship, and I do appreciate that because that's one of the best things about the story.
Yeah, I noticed that like it was very much focused on these two. Like, 'cause any other characters that showed up other than like Ian Sinclair were like faceless or like they didn't matter. Like there was the old man towards the end that kills himself.
Yeah,
that was
bizarre.
I was kind of confused there too. I won't lie.
Was he No, I'm even thinking of it. I'm pretty sure was Jerry Jewell. I'm pretty sure he was in there at one point.
Jerry Jewell is listed in the cast. He's the hunter, so I assume that guy.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was him or if that was somebody else.
He's the only other
kind of a bizarre scene.
Yeah, well, he first comes to the house to like offer them like to go to the inside, but they respectfully say no, and then he finds him in the forest and he like tries to fight him and then just kills himself. And I was like, okay, that sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's weird because the movie starts out like the first scene there is kind of intense, where it's just showing like it's showing like the soldiers just shooting people down with arrows, and it keeps having these like weird like flashing like imagery scenes, and then it just shoots right to teacher like looking among the bodies, like he's looking for something, but you don't know what.
There was also the one soldier that like is cursed and is slowly turning into one of those things.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it was. But it's, I don't know, the whole concept of the curse itself is very creepy, because it's like you're It's implied in the film that teacher is different because like the soldier like pretty much immediately turned, and then over the course of the movie just completely lost his mind and then turned into a tree. But you
that
don't
was
see any
odd.
sign of that happening to teacher, even though it's pretty clear that he's been one longer.
He seems to have full autonomy over himself, like at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't like that they, well, you wouldn't know this, but there is a lot more in the book about, or manga, I guess, about Shiva and where she came from and, you know, her importance. And like there's a whole thing with her that I wish they had played on.
Yeah, that's why I really wish that this had just been a series. I know it wouldn't have looked as good if it had been a series, like whether it was a Kickstarter or actually backed by a studio. But there was just so many points of the story that were just kind of leapfrogged over.
Mm.
I did kind of notice that because like with Shiva the entire time I was like, you like her from the start, but the whole time I'm like, what is her importance? Because they don't tell you at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where did she come from?
And why is she an albino?
And like, she's just in a field and she gets found, and it's like, okay, why? And it's like, oh, we're not gonna find out here. We're gonna get a really cute story about their relationship, but we're not gonna really get told anything.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely a little disappointing that they didn't call too much attention to that part of it. But I mean, I guess the main point of the movie is just to show their relationship and how they kind of grow to rely on each other.
That scene towards the end where he kind of like goes with all the other shadowy creatures and like they go into the hole and then she like takes water out of him. I was very confused. I'm not gonna lie.
I believe that that's supposed to be like symbolic of like his soul, like he was trying to like give her his soul to heal her of the curse.
Okay. Oh yeah, because she's cursed too, right?
Even though you don't really see any evidence of it in the movie, which is bizarre.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's explained better in the manga.
Oh yeah, it goes way deeper into it in the manga. Like it actually, like when I suggested this in the first place, at first I thought it would be okay, like as a standalone thing, but like I'm also like watching this with the knowledge of the manga itself, so I'm unconsciously filling in the blanks as I'm watching it and not really realizing like how you must be reacting to a lot of this stuff as it goes on.
Like that's like overall the film was it was a decent like film. The biggest problem I had with it was it is not beginner friendly for people who don't really understand the manga it's based off of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because the whole time I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, the plus side it is short, so you know it's
honestly
like
it's honestly a little too short, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, it definitely could have stood to have like another 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, especially seeing as they broke it up into 3 parts and it just made it feel even shorter.
Yeah, because even when you take it as like 26-minute episodes, like at least a minute or two of that is credits for each one. And I think the credits in the last episode is longer.
Yeah, and I was expecting an after credit scene, but there was none.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, I think the general art direction and the way, like, we had some scenes where we'd see, like flowers or whatever else, like seeing the color contrast between like the blacks and the whites, and then having like the random little splashes of color. Like, I don't know, it just stood out to me in a very positive way.
Yeah, like to me, like the best part of this was just the animation in general. Like the film is beautifully crafted. There isn't like a moment where like anything looks bad. Like everything is very pleasing to the eye, I think is the best way to say it. And the music complements that very well, and the voice acting is excellent. I just
Yeah, the
think
music was really good.
I just think the story is something that you have to really have a connection to, or else you really can't go in blind. I think that's the main takeaway I had from watching this.
Yeah.
Which is honestly a really big flaw, because you want people to watch it and say that was really good. I want to go read the manga now. You know, you don't want people to watch it and be like, well, that was weird. I didn't understand a single thing that happened. Fuck this movie, you know?
Well, that's one thing too about the manga is, so you said earlier that like the art in the movie was constantly moving. So the book is like that. Every single page, it's as if you're like doing one of those little flip books. Like there's a lot of
It is
pictures.
very visual.
There's a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it looks like it's moving. So you just read it.
There will be whole sections of the manga where like there's no dialogue and it's just showing still images.
But you get it. You know, you get what's happening. And it's just sketches. So I don't know. I think you should read it.
Yeah, I added to the list of manga that I have to read. There's quite a few.
There are they have, of course, after we had already bought all the books, they have released deluxe versions with more volumes in one. So that'll it'll be an easier way for you to get them, and they look pretty on a shelf. I've seen them in Newbury Comics; they look really nice.
Yeah, when I have a little more money, hopefully.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the music really reminded me of like Spirited Away almost, like that kind of music.
I got a real Ghibli feel from the entire thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, didn't quite have a lot of Ghibli's trademarks. Like, we didn't have weird flying machines, and there wasn't like these like hidden messages everywhere. But it was a visually pleasing film through and through. Visually and audibly pleasing film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is rare these days.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm kind of struggling to have something to latch onto because there wasn't the story. The story was very much like character interactions. Like he made her pancakes at one point.
Yeah,
like
and
they part of it.
They cleaned up a house, and they were happy
cleaned up
for
multiple
like
houses.
yeah, they were like happy for like a couple minutes, and then like guy with head shows up, and then teacher goes through an existential crisis.
Yeah, Ian Sinclair with an Irish accent shows up.
Yeah. I will say I like the scene where like she has this little like locket amulet thing, and she opens it up and he put her name in there, and she puts the flower in there with it. Like that was cute.
Yeah.
Other than that, like the scene with when the knight turns into the tree was probably the most disturbing scene in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Especially like leading up to it when she's just in the flower field, and she's looking around and she's seeing all the clothes on the trees.
Yeah.
And it's
foreshadowing.
Like it's when you're kind of like starting to put the pieces together, like, oh, like that's what's happening to the cursed people. But that also makes you wonder, like, what was up with all the cursed people who were running around talking about souls and stuff like what are those ones? Like, where are they coming from? You know?
I feel like they just kept a consciousness. The other one's kind of like the soldier guy, you could see him like losing his ability to make normal sentences and make sense. But the other ones, even though they didn't know who they used to be, they had consciousness, you know? So that's my mother who must have kept them.
That was also kind of creepy. They kept going on about mother.
I was getting like Final Fantasy VII Advent Children vibes where they're constantly like mother.
Yeah. And what was up with the weird fucking cursed whale that was just in the lake?
Huh?
Yeah, that was a thing. Another thing I thought was this was more of like just me being like what the hell hero moment was like when he's looking through the houses. He's like, he's like, Shiva, stay in this open field. Nothing bad will happen, I swear. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this never ends well. Like,
I was
Never.
thinking about that too.
I was thinking that too. As soon as you see pretty field with flowers and trees, that's death.
Yeah,
let's leave a small child unattended behind while I do something else. I'm sure
in the
that
middle
would-
of an area. In the middle of an area where it's known that there's all sorts of cursed beings around.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, when the knight showed up, I'm like, yeah, what'd you expect, bud?
Hmm.
It's a good thing he turned into a tree conveniently before anything had happened.
Yeah, right. Even though immediately after she's like, "Hey, I'm cursed, by the way,"
Yeah.
which again doesn't really have any explanation.
Yeah.
It kind of came out of nowhere, honestly.
Hmm.
I still liked it. Like I said, mostly for the imagery. You know, it's very
Yeah. I mean, all told, it was still a fun movie. It's just there's so many gaps that needed to be filled to make the movie make sense.
Like, to me,
And-
like, the biggest hurdle with it is it's just hard to recommend people to watch it if they have no idea what it is.
Mhm.
Because
well,
they'll
even
probably...
like
Oh, go on.
oh, go ahead. Okay. So, even because I didn't finish the last few of the manga, like I was still kind of confused, like what's going on here. So I feel like it's something that I'm gonna have to go back and reread and finish, and then rewatch it.
Yeah, for sure. Like maybe like if you do get around to getting them, if we end up covering it for the show, we could rewatch the movie and kind of have that as like an extra bit while we're covering the manga.
Yeah, because that's honestly the only real downside is just the fact that you're interested, but it's like it just kind of like it kind of like leaves you kind of hanging at the end too, where it's kind of like it just kind of ends and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
really
I
not a
feel that.
conclusion. There's really not a conclusion. It kind of really just ends and then credits roll.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer. I had a lot more hope when I heard they were making a movie. Like I wanted it to be more. I mean, I would have taken a like a cut with like the visual aspect of it for a little bit more explanation for the story.
I would.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
The art, like I said, the art's what made me grab it. You know what I mean? So
Well, I mean, they still could have kept the same general art design. Just
I think they should have made a miniseries.
yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, because I think that's like I was reading online because I read a lot of reviews on my anime list. The general consensus I saw was everyone commenting that this should have been a series, not a movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's probably people who read the manga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I skipped all the reviews that were just like 1 out of 10 didn't get it or stuff like that because I was like that's not useful to anything.
Yeah, it's not constructive at all. But there were certain like little details that I really liked. Like you would miss it if you weren't really paying attention, but at one point when they're kind of living in the house together, you can tell that time is passing because you're like kind of looking at them through the window and you can see the vines growing on like the outside of the windowsill. So it's kind of like showing that passage of time, like, oh, they were together for a while, but they don't like call a ton of attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, like the besides the art, like I did like all the characters. I thought they were very well written and like acted. There's just not enough about them to truly suck you in, as they say.
Also, I believe that the actress who played Shiva, that's the actress who plays Power, of all things.
That's actually really funny. Sarah Weidenhef, I think, is her name.
Yeah.
She's Zeno in Dragon Ball Super.
Is she?
Yeah. Yep, she's
That's pretty
Power.
funny.
She's Power in Chainsaw Man. She's the main character in the Dragon Maid show, and she's Charmy in Black Clover.
Hmm.
E. So she's been around.
So yeah, I mean
But
the
yeah,
cast was good. Like there wasn't too many characters to cast in general, but the people they got were good. Like
oh no, it's all Funimation or Crunchyroll like standouts here.
mhm.
Yeah, my only complaint really is just that it's not a very normie friendly film, and it's a little too short.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, wish we had a little bit more to say about it. Honestly,
That's the sad part about it, is there's just really not a whole lot that happens. It's mostly a visual spectacle more than anything.
yeah, and you can only talk about the visual aspect of it so much without having examples.
Yeah, I had higher hopes, but I feel like the manga's more. You could talk about it more because there's a
lot more
in it.
story in there.
Hmm.
Like it goes into like because in the manga it goes into more like who was raising her beforehand, and then that becomes a plot point where she's waiting for her aunt to come get her,
And then they like go back later
yeah.
with her. You know what? I'm gonna be reading that for the next couple of nights.
Apparently, there was an older series that I'm not sure got dubbed, but it's also
Really?
only 10. It's also only 10 minutes long.
Oh,
Oh Jesus!
So
okay.
It's-
Can't really call it a series then, I guess.
well, an older movie, I should say. By like 29, it was like 2019-ish apparently.
I
It
thought that
only
was
10
this one.
No, there's an older one. This one was done in 2022.
Huh. That's bizarre.
What are you gonna do with 10 minutes with that?
Yeah,
You're
like
fucking-
if an hour and 15 wasn't enough,
Yeah.
then what the hell are you gonna do with 10 minutes?
What's funny is that the 10-minute one has a bunch of praise and like a lot of high reviews, and then this one's a lot more mixed. So
That's so bizarre.
I guess it
I'll
was
have to
a
look
high.
into that.
I guess it was a highly effective 10 minutes. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could watch that.
Yeah, we'll have to look into it for
What's
sure.
it
If it's
on?
even dubbed.
Well, that's why he. I don't think he said that it wasn't dubbed. It was only Japanese.
Well, I mean, it's 10 minutes. I
Fair.
can. Oh, has he watched Ghost Stories? Have you watched Ghost Stories?
I don't think so.
Oh my god!
We only watched like the first couple episodes the other day.
But I'm gonna watch the whole damn thing, and then I'm gonna go back and watch it with the subs because I want to know what the fuck they're really saying.
because it's
they
definitely
just
not what
wing
they're
it.
actually saying.
It is not what's really happening. It can't be. You've got to watch it.
It's like Azumanga Daioh, where they had to rewrite all of the script because the stuff that they in the original Japanese would not make any sense in Japan. I mean, in America.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, this is like they just
went buck wild
random
with it.
shit.
But my
Oh.
basic understanding of how that dub went was the people writing it were just seeing where we're just pushing it as far as they could, waiting for somebody to push back, and then just nobody ever pushed back.
It's so funny.
That's basically how Azumanga Daioh is. It's basically like I always joke saying it's just Seinfeld the anime because it's literally a show about nothing, starring 5 anime girls in a high school.
But my favorite thing was when like the dad was driving the kids down the road or whatever, and one of the kids like stuck their head out the window because they were looking at something. You gotta get your head cut off.
I think it's funny because that's actually how I talk to my kids.
See, I was expecting it
geez.
to get more dark, like where it's like, oh no.
Well, there's like a whole bit where like a demon gets like trapped into their cat, and they're just like, "Get the fuck out of my cat! Like, I want my cat."
Nice.
Oh, it's funny.
It's pretty great. Apparently, it's on Crunchyroll. I didn't think it was, but I guess it is. So
I gotta go through Crunchyroll and actually see what's in there because there's a ton of stuff that I didn't even realize is available.
Yeah, for sure.
But we can't have Bakano.
Yeah, right. No kidding. Well, you have the DVDs, so you got something.
Hmm.
And apparently we
Yes.
can have audiobooks for it, but we can't just stream it.
Well, I mean, we can't have original Fullmetal Alchemist either.
Yeah. Well, I got that on my hard drive, so that's okay.
I have a possible bootleg, so
It's all right.
I remember bootleg movies. The first time I ever saw Civil War, like the Avengers.
Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, that I had no clue that it wasn't the real movie. Like, there was huge chunks missing. Like after I actually watched it, I'm like, oh shit. It was like literally recorded in a theater too, like on someone's camera.
Classic.
It was great.
Classic.
uh,
No, I think that was how I watched Goblet of Fire the first time. Was one of those. Yeah. It was funny
It's like
too
a-
because it was like there was a laugh track in the movie because like the people in the theater were laughing at certain scenes, like when Filcher's running down the.
Oh my god.
It was fucking funny.
see, it would have been great if it was like Super Dragon Ball superhero, like the scene with Bulma's ass, where like the entire theater I was in, everyone in the theater just went, ugh. Like people were just over that. They were like, no.
Which is
please."
funny because when I saw Broly in theaters, the scene where Chila like stretches out her arm or whatever, everyone went ooh.
Well, I guess Bulma's too old now. I don't know.
Oh.
Or maybe it's just because
They're
it's
both-
Bulma.
was too old.
They're both Beerus' type. It probably is just because it's Bulma.
Well, I mean, Bulma's like 50 something now, I think.
Well, I mean, physically, she's like in her 30s because she keeps wishing to be younger.
Yeah, that's why Chi-Chi looks older than her now. Well, that and the fact that Chi-Chi's aged like by like a truck hit her because she has to deal with Goku.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, Bulma's got Vegeta, but, Vegeta just kind of does his own thing. And she's like, well, I got money, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. That's fine.
Yeah, but the Vegeta at least actually cares in his weird way. Goku just like fucks off for days on end, and then
Yeah, like
Goes
when we
back.
were reading Super, like Vegeta was very like attentive to Bulma, like throughout that whole Goku Black arc in the manga.
Yeah.
He
Goku's
cares.
Very
He's-
like deadbeat.
Goku is weird. Like Vegeta cares. He's just an asshole about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Goku is just fucking stupid, and he just fucks off.
Yeah.
I mean, he
For sure.
cares, but he cares about fighting more.
That's a manga I really want you to read, Cyndi, because it's really fun.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, Goku's got to have something going on because he let his like arch nemesis at the time raise his child. So
Well, he
I mean,
was
he was
dead.
dead. He didn't really have much of a choice.
yeah, but like there's connections in that world. He could have done something.
I think at that point he was just happy that his kid was training because before that his kid was a little bitch and he was like super bummed about it.
That's what I mean, though. You're okay with it. You're okay with the big green man just
Meanwhile,
whooping your kid's ass.
Chi-Chi's out there like, where the fuck is my family? For like,
Where's my 4-year-old?
And my husband's gone, and
we never do find out what happens to Chi-Chi during that entire year. She just disappears.
Well, in the anime, it makes it seem like she's just kind of hanging around the house, but
now she's drinking sake.
I like based on her personality and shit, especially when it comes to Gohan, like I'm surprised there wasn't some Taken shit. Like she didn't just show up with a fucking machine gun and start pumping Piccolo full of lead.
I mean, because she's done that before for less. Like
For sure.
they just didn't
I
want to
mean,
write.
Bulma
Chi-Chi.
had a scouter. She could have tracked him down.
Yeah. I don't know.
You see what I mean?
I
There's
love
a
Dragon
way
Ball,
they
but
have
my
it.
god.
Yeah. I mean, I will never say that Dragon Ball is a perfectly written show because it certainly isn't. But
Did they even tell her? Or did she just like did they just leave her in the dark the whole time?
well, there was a whole thing where like at least in the anime where Roshi sent Krillin to go tell her and he just completely pussed out because he couldn't bring himself to tell her.
I mean,
But he stayed the night and everything.
would you want to go You know Chi-Chi when she's like that?
No, but then she drives to Roshi's house to confront them
How did she drive to an island?
in the Saiyan saga.
I don't know.
Lost
Yeah.
it for a second there.
I was gonna say, how did she drive to an island?
Well, I mean, they have hover cars.
Oh right, yeah.
Their driver's license episode
Oh, I love that.
where she's like, "Oh, we can't drive places. I can't drive because I'm a woman or whatever."
Yeah. Chi-Chi was weirdly selective about certain things.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I mean,
Oh.
I always think back to like Pokemon anime, Gary Oak, 10 years old, driving a fucking car. Like what?
Just completely overflowing with bitches.
Yeah, and his harem that followed him around everywhere.
Yeah, that's weird.
Uh,
Or
oh, got anything else to add here?
no,
Oh yeah, I forgot that we were
honestly, I'm
talking about something else.
just overall, I'm just kind of disappointed that it's not more beginner friendly. Like, I mean, I never expected it to cover the whole series because it's way too big a series to. I mean, not like it's a huge series; it's 11 volumes, but it's still way too much to cover in even like a 2-hour movie. So I was always expecting there to be some stuff skipped around and mixed up, but like it is a little disappointing that somebody new to the series can't watch it and understand what's going on.
I kind of wonder what this would be like if they like tried to like Americanize it and make it live action.
I
No,
I don't
no.
know. I don't know because part of the draw of it is the art style, and that wouldn't translate
Yeah.
in live action.
And I don't like real people. I'm getting sick of live action.
See, I'm curious because there's a live action Your Name currently in production. That's
Well, that
Like,
one I could see
that-
working.
That's different. Yeah, that one, that movie. Oh, that made me cry so much.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
kind of wish we
curious.
had you on for that one.
What?
I said I kind of wish we had you on for that episode.
Oh, it's emotional. You don't want me like that.
Have you guys watched his other movies yet? Or
No, I haven't.
I highly recommend Weathering with You. That is another classic movie.
Okay. So crunchy.
I don't think so because Shout Factory did the dub.
No,
I can actually look
into
that up
it.
right now.
I-
You dropped your phone.
no. I didn't.
Let's see. Weathering with You streaming.
Where would you be?
Oh, it's on Max, I think.
Oh, okay. That's good. We have that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's apparently on Max.
All right, that works.
is
So-
it gonna make me cry?
Possibly.
That's a yes.
Yeah.
I will say its ending is not nearly as happy as Your Name's is, but it's a good story.
Oh no.
Okay.
All right, I'll watch it alone.
Well, it depends on your. I don't want to spoil it because it's a massive spoiler, but the ending is interesting. That's all I'll say.
okay.
Then Taki and Michi will make cameos, which is really fun.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm trying to remember that movie.
What movie?
Oh, the one with the wicked twist ending, with the deaf guy. I mean, the blind guy.
Oh, Don't
Deaf-
Breathe.
Don't breathe. You got to watch that. It's got a. The ending, nothing that you would expect, but the movie is great. You got to watch it.
I don't know.
It's like
I don't know.
is it
Bill,
like-
Bill, do you really like spooky movies?
it depends
It's
on
not-
the movie.
It's more suspense, I'd say, and
I
then
can
the
do
end
suspense.
is just fucked.
Hmm.
Oh, so it's like Perfect Blue.
I don't
It's
know what
another
that
anime
is.
movie. It's another anime movie. It's the whole movie's a mind fuck.
I like that kind of
That's fun.
You might actually like Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is a classic. It's very dark. That's all I'll say.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I like mindfuck type.
Have you ever
stuff,
seen
'cause
the
I
movie
like-
Black Swan?
Oh my god, I think I did.
No.
It Perfect Blue is essentially Black Swan if it was an anime made years before Black Swan was a thing.
Did Black Swan come out in like 2013 or something?
It had Mila Kunis and Natalie Portman in it. They were
Huh.
like dancers.
That's an interesting pair.
Maybe I'm thinking something else.
It's a very dark movie as well. Very mindfucky.
All right,
I like that.
that's fair.
But yeah, and we got 45 minutes out of this, so that's not bad.
That's
This is
something.
40.
We've done worse
Oh.
before. I think
Yes.
the Yamcha episode was shorter.
Possibly.
You know what? I think we should. I'll reread it. You got to read it, and then we should
I also should
regroup and and watch the 10-minute thing, and then kind of go over all of it. You know, that'd be cool.
Yeah. That would
Yeah,
be.
at some point down the line, that would be fun.
And to go from the other side, like the reading, like I said before, like there's a lot of mostly like art panels and stuff where there's not a whole lot of dialogue. So you tend to go through the series fairly quickly when you're
You just
reading
take it in the pictures.
Hmm.
Although, funny thing happened. Remember, I was reading it, and I read like 3 of them, I think, or 2 of them or something. And then I started reading the other one backwards because I forgot that it was backwards. So I was reading it the front ways. I'm like, this makes no sense.
it.
You got to trick your brain because you got to switch between like normal and then Japanese style.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, I'm lucky because I started like I technically was only really reading Naruto, but like I was reading manga all the way back to like middle school, so I've kind of already like trained my brain to. The only thing that really fucks me up is when I read like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like when I'm like, I'll be reading manga and then I'll switch over to like American comics, and you have to like trick your brain into like going back to the normal way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the basic style of how American comics and manga are done are different enough where the visual medium itself is enough for me to be like, okay, I'll read this way on this one, you know. But
yeah, the funniest is like the old some old manga they flipped them, so like the old like Inuyasha, for instance, like they read the normal way, and it's like this is wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, Cyndi, I think you should read more manga in general.
Well, it's hard because like I always knew what manga was, and when I was a kid, I read American comics. So getting into manga as an adult is very jarring in a way. But I do, I love the stories that they come up with, and that's what got me into anime. Like, the stories are amazing. I never was able to look past the artwork before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's cartoony, but I like it now.
Yeah,
yeah.
I actually have crushes.
Yeah,
and it's so much more accessible. Like, Volume 1 is just Volume 1. There's no like, oh, well, this is this universe, and this is this run that takes place in this universe, and these characters are the same, but these characters are different, but they also have different personalities in this one. Like, it's so confusing with American comics.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So if you were gonna give a general rating for the movie, what? I think it's kind of hard because you kind of have to rate it on different levels with like visual presentation, acting,
100%.
story.
I think so. On my anime list, the rating system it's a 1 out of 10. I believe I gave it a 6, which to me, so on my anime list, 6 is a fine rating. So it's not bad, but it's not. It's just its biggest downfall is it is extremely hard to recommend.
Yeah,
I think that's the unfortunate problem with trying to like watch it if you're completely a newbie.
Yeah. It's hard for me to be objective because I know the actual story and I know like Like I like I said, I can unconsciously fill the blanks as I'm watching it, so it's harder for me to be objective about it. But I'd say your rating is probably fine because like visually, like the art style, the animation itself, the acting, it's all a solid 10 out of 10. But the story drags it down so much because just it leaves so much unexplained. And it's just kind of hard to follow.
Honestly, that was probably the biggest problem I had with it. But I will say it's not the worst thing I've ever watched. Like, I've watched much worse over the years. And I did not fall asleep, which is a good sign because that's usually that's why I can't finish Bleach. And I wasn't on my phone the entire time. So those are usually the three signs that it was at least watchable and decent enough that it kept me interested.
Mm-hmm. It should be taken as a there you are.
Yeah, I think we froze there a minute.
It should be taken as more of it should be taken more as like an extra thing to them, like an extra. Like it's not something you should really seek out and watch on its own.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's beautiful.
There's no denying it's a very pretty film.
Yeah, I love the contrast of colors. Like, I don't know, something about it really hit me. I love it.
But yeah, I think that's probably good.
Okay. Well,
we'll try to have you on for a better topic next time, Cyndi.
Well, I think we all kind of, blanked,
well,
I guess.
Well, I think we came in with high hopes and then went, huh. Okay, we weren't really upset, but we weren't sure what to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so anyways, guys, on that note, once again, thanks for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That is superpodnetwork.com, where you can find a ton of different podcasts, shows, videos, and blogs from all of our awesome creative partners over there, including Superpod Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Retro Rehab, A Novel Console, Remember 64, Bar Silence, Fine Time, The Elder Trolls, Friday Night Gamecast, Gaming Together,
Tommy's Video Game Ride-Along.
Tommy's Video Game Ride-Along, and all the GNC shows. And on that note, everybody, we will see you all later.
Have a good one.
Toodles.